Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. God is the infinite impersonal being, ever existent, unchanging, immortal, fearless, and you are all His incarnations, His embodiments. This is the God of Vedanta, and His heaven is everywhere. In this heaven dwell all the personal gods there are. You yourselves exit praying and laying flowers in the temples. No books, no scriptures, no signs can ever imagine the glory of the self that appears as man, the most glorious God that ever was, the only God that ever existed, exists, or ever will exist. I am to worship, therefore, none but myself. This vastness of his desire is really the sign of man's own infinitude. It is because he is infinite that he can only be satisfied when his desire is infinite and its fulfillment infinite. What then can satisfy man? Not gold, not enjoyment, not beauty. One infinite alone can satisfy him, and that infinite is himself. When he realizes this, then alone comes freedom. Man is the highest being that exists, and this is the greatest world, for here can man realize freedom. Oh, how calm would be the work of one who really understood the divinity of man. For such, there is nothing to do save to open men's eyes. All the rest does itself. Be still and know that you are God. Your own will is all that answers prayer. Only it appears under the guise of different religious conceptions to each mind. We may call it Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, Jehovah, Allah, Agni, but it is only the self, the I. All knowledge is in me, all power, all purity, and all freedom. Why cannot I express this knowledge? Because I do not believe in it. Let me believe in it, and it must and will come out. In every one is God, the Atman. All else is but dream and illusion. There is no God separate from you, no God higher than you, the real you. All the gods are little beings to you. All the ideas of God and Father in heaven are but your own reflection. God Himself is your image. I am one, alone, through eternity. Whom shall I fear? It is all myself. This is continuously to be meditated upon. Through that comes realization. It is through realization that you become a blessing to others. Realize yourself. That is all there is to do. Know yourself as you are, infinite spirit. That is practical religion. Everything else is impractical, for everything else will vanish. That alone will never vanish. It is eternal. Hospitals will tumble down. Railroad givers will all die. This earth will be blown to pieces. Suns wiped out. The soul endureth forever. The animal has its happiness in the senses, the man in his intellect, and the God in spiritual contemplation. It is only to the soul that has attained to this contemplative state that the world really becomes beautiful. To him who desires nothing and does not mix himself up with them. The manifold changes of nature are one panorama of beauty and sublimity. You're all running after life, and we find that is foolishness. There is something much higher than life even. This life is inferior, material. Why should I live at all? I am something higher than life. Living is always slavery. We always get mixed up. Everything is a continuous chain of slavery. So long as we have no knowledge of our real nature, we are beggars. What can the universe give us more than our own soul? Possessing that, we possess all. Divinities on earth, sinners. It is a sin to call a man so. It is a standing libel on human nature. Come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that you are sheep. Your souls immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. Follies there are, weakness there must be, but remember your real nature always. That is the only way to cure the weakness. That is the only way to cure the follies. If you say, yeah, I am, so shall you be. And if you say, I am not, think that you are not, and day and night meditate upon the fact that you are nothing, nothing shall you be. That is the great fact which you ought to remember. That is the great fact which you ought to remember. If you are not God, there never was any God and never will be. This, says the Vedanta, is the ideal to follow. I have divided myself into God and me. I become the worshipped and I worship myself. Why not? God is I. Why not worship myself? The universal God, He is also myself. It is all fun. There is no other purpose. You are God, and whatever else you may think is wrong, you must worship the Self in Krishna, not Krishna as Krishna. Only by worshipping the Self can freedom be won. Even personal God is but the Self objectified. Every one of us will have to become a prophet, and you are that already, only know it. Never think there is anything impossible for the soul. It is the greatest heresy to think so. If there is sin, this is the only sin, to say that you are weak or others are weak. What are we to do be free? What are we to do to be free? Free you are already. How could the free ever be bound? It is a lie. You were never bound. How could the unlimited ever be limited by anything? Infinite divided by infinite, added to infinite, multiplied by infinite, remains infinite. You are infinite. God is infinite. You are all infinite. There cannot be two existences, only one. The infinite can never be made finite. You are never bound. That is all. You are free already. You have reached the goal. All there is to reach. Never allow the mind to think that you have not reached the goal. What is the individuality of man? Not Tom Brown, but God in man. That is the true individuality. The more man has approached that, the more he has given up his false individuality. The whole universe is you. The universe is your body. You are the universe, both formed and unformed. You are the soul of the universe and its body also. You are God. You are the angels. You are man. You are animals. You are the plants. You are the minerals. You are everything. The manifestation of everything is you. Whatever exists is you. You are the infinite. This universe is simply a gymnasium in which the soul is taking exercise, and after these exercises we become gods. Where shall we go to find God if we cannot see Him in our own hearts and in every living being? Thou art the man, thou art the woman, thou art the girl, and thou art the boy. Thou art the old man tottering with a stick, thou art the young man walking in the pride of his strength. Thou art all that exists, a wonderful living God who is the only fact in the universe. What makes you weak? What makes you fear? You are the one being in the universe. What frightens you? Stand up then and be free. Know that every thought and word that weakens you in this world is the only evil that exists. We are the Atman, deathless and free, pure by nature. Can we ever commit any sin? Impossible. Such a faith is needed. Such a faith makes men of us, makes gods of us. He is the highest man who can say with truth, I know all about myself. Do you know how much energy, how many powers, how many forces are still lurking behind that frame of yours? What scientist has known all that is in man? Millions of years have passed since man first came here, and yet but one infinitesimal part of his powers has been manifested. Therefore, you must not say that you are weak. How do you know what possibilities lie behind that degradation on the surface? You know but little of that which is within you, for behind you is the ocean of infinite power and blessedness. If a king goes mad and runs about trying to find the king of his country, he will never find him because he is the king himself. He may go through every village and city in his own country, seeking in every house, weeping and wailing, but he will never find him because he is the king himself. It is better that we know we are God and give up this fool search after him. And knowing that we are God, we become happy and contented. Give up all these mad pursuits, and then play your part in the universe as an actor on the stage. Go on saying, I am free. Never mind if the next moment delusion comes and says, I am bound. Dehypnotize the whole thing. Sometimes a sick man lying on his bed may hear a tap on the door. He gets up and opens it and finds no one there. He goes back to bed and again he hears a tap. He gets up and opens the door. Nobody is there. At last he finds that it was his own heartbeat which he fancied was a knock at the door. This man, after this vain search after various gods outside himself, completes the circle and comes back to the point from which he started, the human soul. And he finds that the God whom he was searching in hill and dale, whom he was seeking in every brook, in every temple, in churches and heavens, that God whom he was even imagining as sitting in heaven and ruling the world is his own self. I am he, and he is I. None but I was God, and this little I never existed. To whom shall I go for help? Who can help me? the infinite being of the universe. These are foolish dreams, hallucinations. Who ever helped anyone? None. Wherever you see a weak man, a dualist, weeping and wailing for help from somewhere above the skies, it is because he does not know that the skies also are in him. He wants help from the skies, and the help comes. We see that it comes, but it comes from within himself, and he mistakes it as coming from without. Is not the whole universe you? Where is there anyone that is not you? You are the soul of this universe. You are the sun, moon, and stars. It is you that are shining everywhere. The whole universe is you. Whom are you going to hate or to fight? Know then that thou art he, and model your whole life accordingly. And he who knows this and models his life accordingly will no more grovel in darkness. If the suns come down and the moons crumble into dust and systems after systems are hurled into annihilation, what is that to you? Stand as a rock. You are indestructible. You are the Self, the God of the universe. Say, I am existence absolute, bliss absolute, knowledge absolute. I am He, and like a lion breaking its cage, break your chain and be free forever. What frightens you? What holds you down? Only ignorance and delusion. Nothing else can bind you. You are the pure one, the ever blessed. The gods did not create man after their type, but man created gods. And here are the prototypes. Here is Indra, here is Varuna, and all the gods of the universe. We have been projecting our little doubles, and we are the originals of these gods. We are the real, the only gods to be worshipped. The infinite must be sought in that alone which is infinite, and the only thing infinite about us is that which is within us, our own soul. Neither the body, nor the mind, not even our thoughts, nor the world we see around us are infinite. Stand up, men and women, in the spirit. Dare to believe in the truth. Dare to practice the truth. The world requires a few hundred bold men and women. Practice that boldness which dares know the truth, which dares show the truth in life, which does not quake before death, nay, welcomes death, makes a man know that he is the spirit, that in the whole universe nothing can kill him. Then you will be free. Then you will know your real soul. This Atman is first to be heard, then thought about, and then meditated upon. In meditation, we divest ourselves of all material conditions and feel our divine nature. We do not depend upon any external help in meditation. This human form is the great chance. It is called the karma body, in which we decide our fate. We are running in a huge circle, and this is the point in the circle which determines the future. So this is considered the most important form that there is. Man is greater than the gods. When a man has reached the highest, when he sees neither man nor woman, neither sex nor creed, nor color, nor birth, nor any of these differentiations, but goes beyond and finds that divinity which is the real man behind every human being, then alone he has reached the universal brotherhood, and that man alone is a Vedantist. Men are more valuable than all the wealth of the world. The book is all in us. Fool, hearest not thou? In thine own heart day and night is singing that eternal music. Satyeshananda, Soham, Soham, existence, knowledge, bliss absolute. Am He, am He. So long as there is one that breathes throughout the universe, I live in that one. I am not this limited little being. I am the universal. I am the life of all the sons of the past. I am the soul of Buddha, of Jesus, of Muhammad. I am the soul of the teachers, and I am all the robbers that robbed, and all the murderers that were hanged. I am the universal. Stand up then, this is the highest worship. You are one with the universe. That only is humility, not crawling upon all fours and calling yourself a sinner. That is the highest evolution, when this veil of differentiation is torn off. The highest creed is oneness. I am so and so is a limited idea, not true of the real I. I am the universal. Stand upon that and never worship the highest through the highest form. For God is spirit and should be worshipped in spirit and in truth. If I am God, then my soul is a temple of the highest, and my every motion should be a worship, love for love's sake, duty for duty's sake, without hope of reward or fear of punishment. Thus my religion means expansion, and expansion means realization and perception in the highest sense. No mumbling words or genuflections. Man is to become divine, realizing the divine more and more from day to day in an endless progress. What fear if you die in the attempt to realize the self? Man is not afraid of dying for the sake of learning and many other things. And why should you fear to die for religion? This human body is the greatest body in the universe, and a human being the greatest being. Man is higher than all animals, than all angels. None is greater than man. Even the devas, gods, will have to come down again and attain to salvation through a human body. Man alone attains to perfection, not even the devas. This is a most vital point to understand, that inspiration is as much in every man's nature as it was in that of the ancient prophets. God has become man. Man will become God again. The root of evil is in the illusion that we are bodies. This, if any, is the original sin. There is no salvation for man until he sees God, realizes his own soul. The fountain of all knowledge is in every one of us, in the ant as in the highest angel. Every mouth praising the Lord is my mouth. Every eye seeing is my eye. We are confined no way. Every eye seeing is my eye. We are confined no way. We are not body. The universe is our body. We are magicians, waving magic wands and creating scenes before us at will. We are the spider in his huge web, who can go on the varied strands wheresoever he desires. Who can go on the varied strands wheresoever he desires. The spider is now only conscious of the spot where he is, but he will in time become conscious of the whole web. We are now conscious only where the body is. we can use only one brain, but when we reach ultra-consciousness, we know all. We can use all brains. Even now, we can give the push in consciousness, and it goes beyond and acts in the superconscious. This Atman is the same in all. There is only a difference of manifestation in different individuals. Try to manifest this Atman and you will see your intellect penetrating into all subjects. The intellect of one who has not realized the Atman is one-sided, whereas the genius of the knower of Atman is all-embracing. With the manifestation of the Atman, you will find that science, philosophy and everything will be easily mastered. Proclaim the glory of the Atman with the roar of a lion and impart fearlessness unto all beings by saying, "Arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached. See not man, see only the Lord." No one will ever know his own self a God, but we are that own self. We are God. In this embodied existence, you will be tossed again and again on the waves of happiness and misery, prosperity and adversity. But know them all to be of momentary duration. Never care for them. I am birthless, the deathless Atman, whose nature is intelligence. Implanting this idea firmly in your heart, you should pass the days of your life. I have no birth, no death. I am the Atman, untouched by anything. Lose yourself completely in this idea. Within ourselves is this eternal voice speaking of eternal freedom. Its music is eternally going on. Part of this music of the soul has become the earth, the law, this universe, but it was always ours and always will be. In one word, the ideal of Vedanta is to know man as he really is, and this is its message, that if you cannot worship your brother man, the manifested God, how can you worship a God who is unmanifested? You may pray to everyone that was ever born, but who will come to help you? Help thyself out by thyself. Help thyself out by thyself. None else can help thee, friend. Get hold of the self, then stand up. Don't be afraid. In the midst of all miseries and all weakness, let the self come out, faint and imperceptible, though it be at first. Stand up and fight, not one step back. That is the idea. Fight it out, whatever comes. Let the stars move from the sphere. Let the whole world stand against us. Death means only a change of garment. What of it? Thus fight. You gain nothing by becoming cowards. Taking a step backward, you do not avoid any misfortune. You have cried to all the gods of the world. Has misery ceased? The gods come to help you when you have succeeded. So what is the use? Die game. You are infinite, deathless, birthless. Because you are infinite spirit, it does not befit you to be a slave. Arise, awake, stand up and fight. Never say no, never say I cannot, for you are infinite. Even time and space are as nothing compared with your nature. You can do anything and everything. You are almighty. Bow down to nothing but your own higher self. Until you know that you are that very God of gods, there will never be any freedom for you. Equality in all beings. This is the sign of the free. Religion is not an imitation of Jesus or Muhammad. Even if an imitation is good, it is never genuine. Be not an imitation of Jesus, but be Jesus. You are quite as great as Jesus, Buddha, or anybody else. If we are not, we must struggle and be. Live for an ideal and leave no place in the mind for anything else. Let us put forth all our energies to acquire that which never fails, our spiritual perfection. If we have true yearning for realization, we must struggle. And through struggle, growth will come. We shall make mistakes, but they may be angels unawares. Each one of us has come out of one protoplasmic cell, and all the powers we possess were coiled up there. You cannot say they came from food, for if you heap up food mountains high, what power comes out of it? The energy was there, potentially, no doubt, but still there. So is infinite power in the soul of man, whether he knows it or not. Its manifestation is only a question of being conscious of it. It is the greatest of all lies that we are mere men. We are the God of the universe. In worshipping God, we have been always worshipping our own hidden self. The worst lie that you ever tell yourself is that you were born a sinner or a wicked man. He alone is a sinner who sees a sinner in another man. Though evil and good are both conditioned manifestations of the soul, yet evil is the most external coating, and good is the nearer coating of the real man, the self. And unless a man cuts through the layer of evil, he cannot reach the layer of good. And unless he has passed through both the layers of good and evil, he cannot reach the self. Your nature is pure. It may be hidden for millions of eons, but at last it will conquer and come out. Thou art that. Thou art reality. How long does it take to know this? If you are God and always have been so, not to know this is most astonishing. To know this is the only natural thing. It should not take ages to find out what we have always been and what we are and what we now are. When we have known the nature of the soul, hope comes to the weakest, to the most degraded, to the most miserable sinner. Only declares your Shastra, despair not. No, you are the infinite. Then fear must die. Say ever, I and my Father are one. Either in this world or in the world of religion, it is true that fear is the sure cause of degradation and sin. It is fear that brings misery, fear that brings death, fear that breeds evil. And what causes fear? Ignorance of our own nature. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanam.